subject to that clause being added.
Yeah, that's just my thinking. Councillor Stenhouse?
So I don't know if I'm confused or I feel like everyone else is confused. We were talking about land use bylaw only. We are not talking about applications right now. Is that correct?
Yes, but to be able to say whether an application should be referred to these environments, you have to put it in the land use bylaw. So as it's right now, that is not a requirement. So what I'm suggesting is if council thinks that that would help with future development permit applications for Group 10, then we can add that to this amendment. So that when a development permit application is submitted for a Group 1 and R2, then it can be separated.
Yeah. So I do understand that, but what I'm referring to is Councillor Dinaka's comment. Well, she worked in, we're not talking about the application right now. We're talking about rezoning the town.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of business it is, whatever.
Yeah.
We're talking about rezoning the town.
Yes.
And that's why I said I'm not in favor because we keep the businesses in the business department, we keep the residential in the residential.
Yeah, sorry, if I may respond to that briefly. So, yes, I understand there are two separatists, but they are interrelated. So I believe that if council is aware that the actual development is something that council will not support, then maybe council will not be in favor of passing this amendment. So, in as much as it is for this and future scenarios, but council needs to note this current one, in terms of which is why the applicant is here and has explained his vision and what will be entailed in this. So, as I said, the bylaw has been drafted to accommodate this one, in such a way such that future ones will be subject to scrutiny, So they are separate, but if council just, we just make it a blanket amendment and we have no idea what they wanted to do there, maybe council will not be in favor or council would want to have more information about it before passing this. So this one will benefit this proposal, but the way the amendment has been designed, it doesn't give automatic approval to future ones. It still allows them to be considered on a case-by-case basis. So,
Okay, so if this land use bylaw is changed, does that automatically forward the application, or the application is now a separate, gonna come back to us as separate?
it is separate.
I know
Yes.
what you're saying, that they are kind of interconnected.
Yes, but the application is separate. They already submitted the application. It could not be approved because it required the land use bylaw amendment. So if council passes it, we'll go and review that application and make a decision in consultation with the development authority.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Just two things to say. Couple of them there. First off, we're not changing the land use. We're not changing from R2. It's just changing a discretionary use within R2. Now, the other question I had for you, Commit, is should council decide that they want to do this amendment subject to the wording being added to address applications under this in future, and then we spell that out, would the proper way then be to withdraw the resolution as it stands now and then amend it? Or
No, my suggestion would be that council gives second and third reading subject to the amendment that a clause or language be added to allow the development authority to refer development permit applications. Okay, sorry, I get your question here. So the original one has to be drawn and then an amended resolution. So
yeah. So
but that's allowed rather than
rather than defeat the resolution, which would then defeat the bylaw, right?
correct.
Second reading is to withdraw the resolution as it stands right now, and then to make a new resolution.
Yes,
based
sorry.
on
Yeah,
the
based on the
bylaw,
question, yeah.
or the amendment to the bylaw with the addition of
Yes,
the language
yes.
we're talking about.
And the MGA allows that. So either you can give second or third reading with an amendment or as is. Yes.
Councillor Shishin?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, so looking on, like I was looking through page 33, at the bottom there, the as per discretionary rather than permitted, so I understand that part. I guess, I had the same, I guess, question or concern is that, would there be that opportunity to review, for that, so if it's coming in, as Mayor said there, is there that opportunity there? But that amendment would take care of that, basically.
Yes, that's
Right,
right.
so,
We did think about that.
yeah,
Some people oppose that because they feel that it can stall development because if you separate it into the people, some people will never like anything.
Yeah,
So they feel that it can inhibit development in general. So
right,
well, that's why I decided I wasn't sure whether it's a helpful thing, like I said, because then it can be used to your disadvantage. You know,
Right.
So
okay, thanks.
So we pull this then?
You made the motion, so.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's the recommendation then.
Well, that was my thinking, but I don't know where everybody else.
I'll
is.
rescind the motion and we'll redraw it there, I guess, incorporate all of what we've been talking about.
So that we would give second reading to the bylaw, with the condition that,
Language be added.
language be added, that future developments have to notify residents, or surrounding residents, right?
so language be added that the development, I would say may.
Yeah.
So the development authority may refer applications for group homes to adjacent landowners prior to decision making.
And we still have the answer to my original question is that the CAO, who should know the town, will also be able to say, well, we want
Yes,
to hold
yes,
off.
yes.
So we have a couple of fail-safes in there if you
Yes,
want to make
yes.
sure that we don't get undesirable
Yes.
applicants
Yes,
getting
as I said,
through.
yeah, we don't
Yeah.
approve, we prepare the decision, the CEO gets to sign from them, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we, just to make sure, you would be able to draft up the added language for this and give that
Yes,
to me so that
yes,
I can then
yes.
proceed?
Yeah, I will
Still
do
go
that.
with the bylaw based on that
Yes.
added wording.
Yes,
We can put it there.
yes,
I want to make sure it's for you and
Yes.
then that whole process up.
sure, yes.
We don't want to go any longer than that.
No, we don't want to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can we repeat it one more time, just so we make sure it's correct, the motion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna give the wording or you want?
I can try that.
Okay.
Okay, and then you can correct me if you need to, that council provide or give second reading to bylaw 05/2024 to amend the land use bylaw 2015 with the addition of language that would require, or that may require the development authority to seek additional measures to confirm, I want to say approval, but just consent or.
Yeah,
maybe
I
you
would
can
say,
help.
yeah,
You probably have it wording on another.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so council gives second reading to land use bylaw amendment 05/2024, with language allowing the development authority to notify adjacent landowners of development permit applications for group homes prior to decision making.
That was a lot of words really
That's-
fast. I got, it's recorded, I'll
It's
figure it out,
recorded.
but, yeah.
So the recording is working?
It is, yes, for
Oh,
that.
Okay, so that new motion, go ahead, Heather.
Yeah, so, this was a question I had, for Coney, and for all of, like, I'm not aware of what, because we're affecting R2 zoning, what percentage of the town is R2, what percentage of the town is R1, what percentage of the town is R3? Like, I looked at on this map, but he was able to point it out, does everyone here on council know where R2 is?
Actually, if it's possible, I can go on our website, your web map, I can open it and then I can highlight the zone if that's okay, that will give you a visual.
I don't think she can put it up, can
We
you?
could put it up on that one, but we'll lose John.
From this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so John, we won't see you for a second, but.
And if that's fine.
It's on that piece of box.
Maybe you have to get to the website.
Yeah, well, we just gotta get into, a browser here.
There it is, in the box, the holding box.
Chugga.
A little internet that could.
Some days.
CMS TV now.
And it's start
All
typing.
right, there's actually like a whole, I don't have any calls to give you, but
Maybe I'll change it to, you need a front desk candy.
There we go, fine. This is ridiculous. Nope. There. Well, no, I can type it down on my phone. Oh, okay, and then I say, okay, let's, okay, this is for. Try that again, it wouldn't type it.
Use mine if you want to, on my laptop.
It's the internet connection.
Or I can use my phone hotspot.
Yeah, I can't, okay, so I type in there, this is what I get, it's,
Almost like a minute.
let's try a different browser.
Okay, yeah.
I've got it on the phone.
Now, I know anybody can get it way faster than this.
Yeah, it's a big chunk of stuff.
Okay. There we go,
It is really helpful.
finally, it's come cooperating.
Yeah,
On,
well,
on
this one here,
Yeah, some of the maps are around the table, I think, have those on it too.
I look at the ones that are here, it
Doesn't give it
the
any-
address in there. I don't, so I told Carol that such that we could get to a separate copy this morning.
Oh, okay.
If that would help.
it's all this,
she'll go out.
it's all this beige.
That doesn't show the same on that one.
Yeah, and we could get one for all.
Yeah.
If that would help.
So, yeah,
Where did you go to find the zoning, James?
just went to the town website,
Oh, she's on there?
the land use zoning map.
Oh, okay, I wasn't aware that it's on, what's that? This is the one month thing that I was talking about. There's a public mention of this.
Were you able to bring it up on yours?
Oh,
Doesn't.
okay, I didn't try.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got it.
So which areas are,
Oh, they highlighted, the ones,
the yellow ones
yes, the
are all
yellow
on the
highlighted,
page.
all ours.
It's a good portion of town that.
And that would include the. And this is R1. So when R1 is relatively small compared to.
Yellow,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And then this is R3.
Okay, so we need to move on, so we know what it is now, that they are, R2 is a good chunk of the town.
Yes.
Anything else, Sasha, on that? No, okay. So I think what, the thing coming out of that is we wanna make sure that future developments are, like I say,
How do we start?
oh, I can do that, thank you.
Should get John back in.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on this? You're back. Nothing else? Okay, we all understand what we're voting on?
I'll make the motion. as presented.
Thank you.
All right, all in favor?
Is John abstaining or?
Okay. And opposed? All right, the motion is carried. And I'll make the motion that council give third and final reading to bylaw 05/2024 to amend the land use bylaw 15-2015 on, with the language as amended to allow for residential input. All in favor? Opposed? It is carried.
Your worship,
Yes.
I don't know if we're gonna make it through this, agenda here. I'd like to make a motion here to extend the meeting past 10 o'clock by 30 minutes if necessary.
Well, we'll just say to extend the meeting past.
Well, I
Just
was
leave
gonna
it
put
at
it, I was gonna put a time limit on it, so we're not
Well,
here all night, because we could be. but-
Well, we'll move through it quick, but yeah. Okay, any questions on that one, that motion?
That has to be unanimous. Yeah.
Well, we do have our organizational meeting we have to get through too. That's,
Well,
That would be another meeting.
well, that's a separate meeting. That's true.
It's an individual meeting.
Yeah, so that is a separate meeting.
So this meeting here is on, this is a regular meeting of council. And if we want to do that one, then we need to do that one. It's already council.
Yeah. So yeah, we might be covered for the organizational meeting because it's a separate meeting. Therefore, it doesn't have to. Okay, so we had to be done this one by 10, right? Or 10:30 actually, because it's 4 hours.
no, is it 4 hours or is it?
30,
Yeah.
our day started at 5:30 here.
But then it would be,
Regular meeting of council.
but the regular meeting only started at
6:30, but I don't know what the procedure says, if it says 10 o'clock or if it says 4 hours.
It says 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
because we
If
just,
it
we
starts
just
at
went
6,
over it
yeah.
last meeting, so it just says ends at 10 o'clock.
The regular meeting of council.
What's that?
The regular meeting of council ends at 10.
Well, I don't know if that was specified for that one. It said council procedures, so.
Okay, just while we're working on that, thank you guys very much for coming in. We're all good with that bylaw. And good luck, Michael, with getting that all going and rolling.
Yeah, thanks everyone for your input, and we really appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Thank you to the assessor.
Yeah.
For anyone that wants that.
Yeah, we got it. So, yeah, we're looking. All right, so how do we deal with this one? We know we generally have kept it to 4 hours. We might be over 4 hours today, but it's separate meetings, right? So it would be more for tonight, but we do have to get through our organizational meeting. It has to be done in October, so we need to get that done. And we've got a few things left on here, but so the question, like I think, James, your thing saying we have to be done, if we started at 5:30, we have to be done at 9:30, that's not really
No,
the case,
no.
because we've got 3 different meetings.
I wasn't saying 9:30, because because I didn't have it in front of me and I wasn't sure
Yeah.
if what the policy said. I don't know if the policy said 4 hours or if the policy said 10 o'clock.
Yeah. So what,
Sorry, while you guys are working on that, this last motion, did it have unanimous support to go to the third and final?
No,
reading?
we do.
It does not
No, all 3 readings this meeting.
Or you're not?
yeah,
So we really have all 3 readings in one meeting.
okay, so while he's working on, you made the motion, so we better deal with that. Is there anything, reason why we can't, well, again, I would say if you just left it blank and say that, we can,
But you made a motion right at the beginning. beginning that said that you were going to extend the organizational meeting till after your regular.
Correct, yeah, I got counsel on that, so it's a separate meeting afterwards. But I guess part of what we're looking at right now is when do we have to be done our regular meeting, because we do have normally that 4-hour time slot. So if we started at 6:30 for a regular meeting, probably should be done at 10:30, right?
If we're good until 10:30 for regular council, we should be fine.
Okay,
As long as that's-
so do you want to withdraw your motion for now?
I'll pull it for now.
Okay. So that one's Councilor Martins?
We skipped over 5.1, or did we not?
No, we're still on business arising
I
from the
know, but
minutes.
was it first 5.1?
Confirmation of minutes?
No, we did that.
Right, we did that, but what was your question gonna be, 5.2 or 6.3 or? I'm
Well,
confused.
yeah, it started off as 5.2
Yeah.
and then,
You missed it when you were-
No, we said that you could talk about it at business arising, which is now.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, not, because it has to do with the financial.
Well, we talked about the financials and we had the audit at the last meeting. So this would be related to last meeting, right? This is a question about the budget that was presented last meeting, correct?
Yes, yes.
And I did write that down on my agenda here, 6.3.
Okay, so go ahead. What's your question?
So, geez, I don't have it with me. So I'd like to speak to the, section in the audited financials of, council expenses and,
Is that wages?
yes.
Okay, so what's your issue with that? Or question?
And it's all kind of related to the audited financials and the organizational meeting, and I myself, among a lot of residents, would like to see the expense claims of council.
That's not to do with the audit financial, that's just a council policy. The audit statement only is required under the Municipal Government Act to report the amounts paid to the councilors and the CAO for wages, benefits, and or expenses.
Correct, but that is the only time I get to see council's expenses is during the audited financials.
If council wishes to direct me, I can draft something to bring a policy in for council to look at regarding posting of expenses as I do in other city of Edmonton, let's say.
Everybody, well,
Yeah.
a majority of,
So
Yes.
you're,
We're not
you would,
sorry.
yeah, this isn't really sort of business arising out of the minutes. It's a new topic that you're wanting to bring up, right? And that should be a new RFD brought to council. So do you want to work with the CAO to draft an RFD that can come to another meeting?
okay, I can do that because, yes, I have questions about those amounts.
Okay, well, if you have specific questions about those amounts, what are they?
How some councilors have numerous committees and boards that they sit on. Some have one or two, yet the expenses don't match up. That's why I'm inquiring about the timesheets and the expense claims.
Well, you'd have to come with specifics if someone to address that question, right?
It could be
could
as
be
simple as people
1,000
just didn't put in their timesheet.
It could be some people have to travel to go to their.
No, because like I said,
I'm
it
gonna
seems
put a
like the
hold on
ones who have the least committees have the most expense.
I'm gonna put a hold on this one so that you can come with specifics and we can sort of look at it and it can be part of your RFD.
Okay.
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 Because we do need to move on and that's a whole different topic there.
As she was talking, our expenses, so let's say I had to travel, added in to the same line item with my committee meetings. Let's say I go to a committee meeting, it's $100, plus I had to travel there. Is that separate expenses or separate travel claim expenses to the meetings?
Yeah, they're two separate numbers.
Okay, so then not true, James, Councillor Waco, like that, you know, they're added in together because it's separate. That's what I want clarification on.
No, what I meant is that some people might not have higher expense claims because they haven't put in their meetings, right? Is that could be why there's a discrepancy?
No, the discrepancy is, some councillors only have 2 committees, some councillors have 4+, but the councillors with 4+ have less.
Depends on how often they meet.
Yeah, and I was just gonna add that same thing, is depends on how often your committee meets. Some committees meet once a month, some committees meet quarterly or biannually, just
Or
twice a
meet
year.
once a year.
Once a year. So, you know, if you have to sort of look at what committees they were appointed to during the year. But we can work on that together.
Yes, yeah.
Just to clarify here, I did look at the bylaw, I've got it here in front of me, adjournment of meeting and adjournment time. Unless otherwise determined pursuant to the provision of the bylaw, at the conclusion of the agenda time is at the conclusion of the agenda as adopted by council, or at 11 p.m. if a meeting is in session at that hour. Notwithstanding the provisions of 18.3, council may by unanimous motion of members present agree to the extension of the meeting time. A vote to extend the time of the meeting beyond 11 o'clock must be taken not later than 11 o'clock p.m. And
No.
That was changed, it was not 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it was 10.
I'm just looking at the
I
bylaw.
know, I agree with Herman. You guys decided on moving the date to, the time to 6. That was when it started at 7, but no one ever went back and changed the policy. Because the bylaw committee has not met in over 2 years. No one, the policy was not changed. You guys agreed upon it, but you never changed it.
I've got the one that's here posted on the
That's
website.
right.
This is the bylaw from 2021. We did amend it at the last meeting to, because of the committees, but nothing else was changed in there.
So we're good till 11.
We're good till 11, we're good till that unanimous extend past 11.
You are right.
And just to clarify, Bailey has gone to get a copy of the bylaw, so everyone can see that.
I'm good.
Okay, so we're moving on then to item 8.1, new business, the lift station tender. Can I get a motion on this one, please? I know Vernon's been waiting
Thank you, Vernon.
ever so patiently back there. Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Forgot.
Do I have a motion on this RFD?
I will move that council approve the increase in funding of $153,792 to be taken from the sewer reserve and award the lift station tender to AGS Mechanical for a total cost of $1,428,792.
Okay, so with that, I'll turn it over to Vern. You can give us the Coles notes of what's happened and where we're at, and then we can ask questions.
Well, you can see by the letter of recommendation, we had 2 companies bid on the project. AGS Mechanical and 640 Earthworks. You can see AGS Mechanical was $360,000 cheaper than the second bidder. Of that extra $153,000, we are asking for $100,000 as contingency, which will not be spent unless there's some unforeseen circumstances that arise. So really, we are asking for $53,000 to complete this project.
Oh, you're just asking for an extra 53?
No,
There's a 153, there's a contingency amount of 100,000
Oh.
and will not be spent unless something arises that is unforeseen.
Oh, that's a huge.
So the bottom line is
Now when
the
you're-
cost
now when you're
of
digging
more
into-
money.
Now, when you're digging into the ground to put in a bypass line and you don't know exactly what is under there.
Councilor Waco.
Where is lift station 3?
It is on 46th Street, right at the border of the town of High Prairie where it reaches Fairbanks Field.
The that one behind the hospital there?
No. Where up the other side of Birch Crescent. And then you got the old Alberta Housing Traders.
Oh, yeah,
It's
okay, okay,
Right
okay.
at the very end of that street.
Okay,
And over the years that I've been here, there's been very little bit of maintenance put into that lift station, due to the fact it was very well built when it was put in. And the fact that, now it's getting to the point where parts are not readily accessible and some even have to be manufactured.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions or comments on this?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm stuck on your wording of 100,000 contingency that will not be spent.
Will not be spent unless we run into something that is unforeseen.
So,
So if there was something that we run into when they're doing the bypass line, and it's been buried there for years and nobody knows about it, that could cause a problem. It's only if something's unforeseen that a contingency amount is ever used.
yeah, Judy, I can maybe just explain that what we're really doing is approving the amount of an extra 153 that what we've already approved with the capital. And what Vernon is saying, some of that money might not get used because it isn't for the projects, it's if they run into issues. That's the contingency part. So we're approving it all up to an extra 153,000 on top of what we've already approved. And Vernon is saying we may not use all of that money. It's not or any of that 100,000. Or we may use it all.
Or could there be a scenario where it could go over 100,000?
Not likely. And if we did, we'd have to come back to council for approval to go over that. It's very unlikely that it's gonna run into that problem. We've taken a step back. This was engineered to a certain point prior to, and then we've taken a step back, re-looked at some of the stuff that was being spec'd in this lift station, which is some of it was starting to become obsolete. Even 10 years down from when it was first came out, it was starting to become obsolete. So when we went back and looked at this closer, that's why the increase in costs, to make sure we're up to date with everything that's going in there.
Okay, anybody else with a question, comment? Councilor Martins?
Fern, perhaps you just answered this in your last statement there. My question was, what is causing the increase from 1.27 million that was originally approved to the 1.4? I'm not interested in the semantics over the 100K in contingency. When MPE first, they know to buffer things, right? I know MPE, and so did they not add in the contingency fund in the original 1.275 that we approved?
I think there was a 50,000 is all that was there. We want to make sure that this lift station is done properly because it's going to last us 35, 40 years. So when we went back and re-looked at all of the parts and components going into that, we wanted modern parts, the ability to communicate with the other final lift station, which is number 4, so that when number 4 is pumping, 3 isn't pumping. So they're not competing against each other. So that will give us better pumping efficiencies, which would again go into less electrical use. So
I love what you're saying. I agree.
Yeah.
Do it right. Do it once. You're spending 1.something million.
Yeah.
Do it right. But this was a very recent projection. The modernization would have been projected in this. It was only This was in the 2024 capital budget. So months later, our technology hasn't changed. I'm just curious what has caused the change. This wasn't 5 years ago. This was very recent, and MPE knows about technology talking to each other, lift stations talking, what happens if you go underground and see crap, or unexpected expenses. This is their expertise. So I'm just wondering why this was projected.
And cost of this equipment has gone up as well. It's 5%, sometimes 10% per year that it's going up. like I said, when we went back and relooked at everything prior to going to tender, there was certain things that was 10 years old that they were speccing inside this lift station. So we modernized it, and then really it's 53,000, not the 153, right?
Arvin had a comment?
Yeah, Vern, if you could just clarify also, when the budget's done up, it wasn't necessarily done up in 2024, they had a capital plan that was going back to whatever, it was modernized for 2024 for the budget. But the one thing that does happen is a lot of times we can't anticipate what the bids will be coming in at, because, you know, you can talk about anything, you talk about any government project goes out, if it goes for tender, it comes in higher than what was planned, because the people that are bidding on it find they need more money for whatever reason, cost of petrol, wages, whatever. So some of this may have been as a result of not being able to anticipate what the market is out there for people who are bidding on this, correct?
Absolutely. Like anytime we go to tender, we don't know what they're gonna come back with. Sometimes they come in lower, sometimes they come in higher. It's all driven by how busy they are in their fields and what they figure their profit margin should be, right?
Go ahead.
So I see that AGS, who we're awarding the contract to, comes in at 1.29, including GST. I see the request here. So is that is the variance, the remaining amount going to MPE, and then there's GST on top of that? Because it's 1.2 for AGS, including GST. But the motion that we just read says 1.4 something plus GST. So is the remaining 200,000 MPE's cost?
The MPE's cost is on the second page is the 89,250.
Okay, so then the numbers are not adding up for me. 1.29 including GST.
I think that should be excluding GST. I can double check that. But I'm sure that's to be excluding GST.
The table 2 that does state cost excluding the GST.
Yes. It's a typo probably.
Okay, let's take GST out of the equation. 1.29 plus 89,000 for MPE. Does that add up to the 1.48? I don't have a calculator on that.
1.39, sorry, 1.339 is stock, subtotal schedules, so for schedule A, B, and extra work allowance for 100,000. Which is $1,339,542, and then the AP cost over 89,000, so if you add the 1,339 to the 89,000, you get 1,428,782. That's how that was calculated. Correct me again, Vern?
The contract cost includes the schedule of construction includes the $100,000 contingency, which is considered the extra work allowance, but that won't be spent unless it's absolutely necessary.
All right, anything else? Seeing none, we have a motion. Oh,
But just in terms of the dollars that are looking ahead, this is an investment for our citizens, for our residents into the future. And so I'm going, yeah, if there's questions about dollars, I know people always look at it saving money, but in the end, it's saving us money down the road, and our residents are going to benefit from this. So all I have to say.
okay, thank you, John. All right, so we'll bring this to a vote, and we have the motion to approve the extra 153,000. All those in favor? Everybody's in favor, it carries. All right, moving on then to 8.2. This was the addition, and I'll turn it over to Councillor Martins.
Thank you. So I quickly skimmed skimmed over. First of all, I thought it was ATV because we're moving from a former financial institution to a new, this was last August, I believe. So I would expect to be signing for ATV. I just wasn't understanding, CAO Interline, why RBC wants us to sign, like why RBC?
We still have the RBC account right now. We have not made the full switch over, so but in order for myself to be out on this with the signing authority and others that were down there originally, this needs to be done for them to have that signature available to them. And then the second page, the last page there, where there's two signatures, is to the agreement, and that has to be as part of that process.
Okay, what is the ETA by which we move fully to ATV?
We're just waiting on them, and they're supposed to be coming up here doing a presentation to us. Sherry, I think it is, from Spirit Rivers coming now. A little later with her. Again, it's timing, being able to schedule things.
So do we have an ETA on that?
No, not right now. I don't have it off the top of my head. I can get that with Jana and bring that information back.
Okay, you clarified it, because when I read that, it looked like we weren't moving, so now you just
We
explained
are
it.
moving, yes.
We're moving, but to put him on, yeah.
And then again, somewhere, a couple of us down the road, hopefully, you'll need to do this again, because the next person will have to be on the cards. And hopefully that'll be with ATV.
Okay, so that answers your question on that. Do we want a motion on that one?
No.
No, okay. So we will then move to 9.1, the operating variance on operating and capital projects. Can I get a motion on this one?
On page 44.
I'll make the motion that council receive this report for information.
Where would you pick that?
Well, I'm just saying
Oh,
where
you
receive
see,
the
okay,
information.
oh, because when you read the options, there's options 1 and 2, and 1 is that administration report back on any outstanding questions or concerns. And option 2 is that council receive with information.
Correct.
And then when you look at recommended, it says number 1.
Well, no, it's, the recommendation is that council receive this report for information. That number 1, it's the first, number 1 in that list underneath recommended actions. It's not tied to the list up above.
Okay.
If I could just clarify too, it depends on what the person who's writing the RFP is accustomed to. And because this was late getting into the package, I didn't get a chance to fully review it. It's already been done, just getting in there at the last minute for you people. Again, my preference is to put the options in the list by order of preference, and then always go with option 1. It's sometimes easier rather than digging it out of the bottom of making your option, but it's just, it's semantics. It's the options are 1 or 2. The administrative recommended action is there, number 1. And so it's not necessarily number 1 option, it's just that's what they're.
Okay, so.
Sorry.
No, that's okay, because I only got this on yesterday, I haven't had time to really review it. So I would still like the option to be available to me for any questions that I might have.
And the thing is, if anybody has any questions, even after this meeting, I'm always available and sit down with myself or with Shanda. And unfortunately Shanda wasn't able to be here, something unexpected came up. And so I couldn't answer very many questions on this right now for the loss of the finance officer. And again, I need magnified glass to say to some of others probably. But if somebody does have a question, you're more than free to send me an email, drop in to see us, and we will definitely answer all the questions. There was one from the gallery today about the order and the way that it's done, but
Okay, do you want to summarize this for us, or is there?
It's a written note in the context of the budget there, the operating budget, if I read page.
Yeah, we don't have to.
It's all there, I don't have to read to you, because
It's nothing. All right. Go ahead, Bert.
And under the capital, I know there's been some questions in regards to South River Crossing. That contract came in under and is in the process of being awarded.
Yeah, and I was gonna bring that up in my update.
Okay,
Thanks, Mark.
which, and substantial completion by December 18th.
I know about how much under it went.
Not much,
Not much. We had,
a couple $1,000 is all.
but they have come down
Yes,
and removed
the extra workarounds,
Yes.
it's not in this one, it was minimal anyway. It's a straightforward project.
okay. Any questions on this summary?
Oh, yeah.
You've got questions, but you'll send them in?
Yes, I will.
Okay. If you have some, we can maybe answer them now, but otherwise we'll move on.
Well, okay, let's just quickly go to number 14, the sidewalk replacement program. Is that even gonna happen this year or no?
it's a late. But,
Yeah, exactly, it's late.
and we've got some other things I confirmed because of the possibility of an Alberta Highways project coming through town in 2 years.
In 2027, they have notified us that they're planning on overlaying the highway. And at that point, we will be looking at doing sidewalks along the highway replacement. And I know the contractor just ran out of time with the sidewalk replacement program. The walking trails did get completed. If you want, I can go through some of those.
No, not tonight. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to really go through it, but the
And,
sidewalk.
and with the bank stabilization at the reservoir, we can't do that project when the reservoir is full, unfortunately. So that'll be a carry forward to spring of next year.
Drink more water.
The reservoir's full right now, heading
The
into.
reservoir is
That's good news, right?
full and the river is running. And it is being topped off 2 days a week to make sure that we'll pump as long as we possibly can.
Perfect. All right, no other questions on this. We had a report or a motion to receive for information. All in favor? Okay, thank you. It's carried. Moving on then to our CAO's report and action list. Can I get a motion on this one? Councillor Yashishin?
The council received CAO from Interbank's report and action list for review.
All right. I'll turn it over to our CAO. If there's anything you want to highlight or add to
Yes,
the report?
I won't. You'll see that I've added, changed it a bit. I've got highlights, 2 resolutions that are reddish gold or whatever. Those will be coming out because they are completed. So that's looking I do myself personally. Once it's completed, the report to council is completed, it's going to be coming out. The ongoing ones are still there. We've added a few things in there. We maybe go over that we got lost, dropped off the table. We're trying to just clean this up both in this report and the other. As far as my report, written report, it stands, but I did have some things to update. And I can bring them here, yes. The latest on the update on the CAO recruitment, I think I put something in my report there. I did get another report update on Friday from the local group. So they're now up to 15 names in the high priority. They interviewed 3 in the last week. 2 of them were solid candidates. One's reasonable, but not top tier. You got 4 more scheduled for next week. Reviewed and appeared to be unqualified. There's 2 of them. Declared and awaiting submission 1. Have an interest and may desire candidacy with further discussion 5. There are 42 people in the medium group. Those are people who have not yet responded. Further contact will be attempted. And there's 11 people in low priority. I have to bring it up front here. I didn't approach council on this. He had 2 that he was going to include in the high priorities. I had them removed. Since if somebody wants to text me, I'll give you the information as to the 2. You're aware of the 2. Most of you are aware of the 1. The other person is somebody that some maybe you remember from the history of the town or whatever, but they would not be suitable candidates for the CAO position in high priority. And I will share that information with you, or if we want, we can move the camera quickly, I can do that there. But I don't want to because we're recording, and I don't necessarily, I'd like to keep that information confidential, just to keep us myself out of courts. ICF meeting, I accompanied Mayor Panasic and Councilor Musician to a meeting with Big Lakes County regarding the ICF. The agreements were not reviewed, but the agreement was reviewed, but not the individual agreements that are contained in there. And there was discussions had on what needs to be updated. They did give direction to myself and CAO Reynolds with adding the changes and bringing them back to a tentatively scheduled for 9 o'clock. I think it was like weeks. I forgot what the date now. I can't read it. Yeah.
December.
December 11th, was it, right?
12th.
12th. Okay. Well, that's it.
Well, I'll look it up.
No, 12th, that'd be correct, yeah. The council meetings at 10. Anyways, there's a fire budget committee meeting November 27th at 7 o'clock at the fire hall, for those that are on that. And that will be probably redetermined or clarified after this. And that was it for that. The one that Bird talked to, the MPE, yes, they did advise us that the river crossing repair project, they did come in over the budget to start with. The engineers did approach them and talk to them about a few things, so they were able to reduce it and meet the budget. The total cost now, the adjusted tender amount, the original tender, excluding GST, was for $335,000. And then by discussing with them, and part of it was taken out the contingency, they've reduced that to $299,999.40. The tender. So that's, we are going to be giving direction to award because it meets the budget. We don't need to bring it up. The council's already approved the project as such. Okay. Any other questions on my report?
Councilor Waco.
I have two. One, I guess, could have come up in business horizon, but the waste contract is up in tender.
It's gone out. I've seen something on the town website, but I'm not sure where it's gone out.
I've probably seen it in here. I read it somewhere.
Yeah, it has been tendered.
It has been tendered.
We could ask for request proposals.
Okay. And the other thing is how did the auction go?
Oh, sorry, it's in my report, I believe.
Well, it says that you presided over it and
And
then
4 people show up here and nobody did on anything. I had 2 people from the public and 2 people, members of council that attended also. To sit in on that, and it went through very.
I didn't see that.
So almost have a public auction for 2 properties. The tax year is held on October 24th. I hope to update council on the results of the actions of the meeting. So yes, so there's nothing sold. We did have, there was 2 people from the public, 2 members of council. So we went through the process. Nobody bid on anything. There were some questions asked about some other things related to or not related to some of the properties. So we are giving the public some information, and I think it was well received.
It was very well received.
Anything else?
No. Councilor Martins?
Actually, I'll just add that Herman did a really good job. He was so official. I was waiting for the, like,
I was reading.
you know, yeah, it went well, and yeah, it was actually well done. And one of our staff were here as well, and I thought the whole thing was very well organized. I've never been to one of those. I was expecting the 2020, it didn't happen, and I thought it was very well done. So good
I was
job.
disappointed because it didn't sell anything, because my last auction I sold the property for $177,000. No such luck in Hyper.
It was, and the public who showed up were very impressed with you.
Okay.
He just has that auctioneer voice.
I think I've heard.
All right, no other questions? Oh, Councilor Danaka.
Just on the action list, and this has been on for a while.
Yeah.
It's from the very first item, March 2nd, 2022. MMSA is committed to provide a draft by June 1st, 2024 regarding telecommunications policy. So I'm sure you probably can't answer the question.
I can't. And
because,
I'm just trying to find the problems that are coming across now, I haven't really gone back that far.
yeah,
But it is on my list of things that to try and get these things here, and I'll get answers to council.
okay.
More than that it's completed or, well, perfect, there's two parts.
There is, yeah, because.
So the proponent, the form reference would be to locate the tower in whatever. MSA is committed to providing a draft by June 1st, 2024, so I'm gonna have to chase and put the feet to the fire.
I think one,
See where we're at with that.
I think part of the explanation for that was provided last time, that they were here as, they were short-staffed for a long time, and it's not an excuse, but it fell through the cracks. And they did commit to getting it to us, they just didn't give us.
Yeah, and again, just to note, say since 2022, so it's not just them that's falling through the crack, but I guess.
Yeah.
People that were here to put the feet to the fire.
Okay, anything else? Seeing none, we had a motion to receive the report for information. All in favor? It is carried. Moving on then to correspondence. And we'll get a motion on the request for a member on the CEC.
I thought we had one.
Well, we do, they're just sending in a letter, we can just receive it for information, right?
Would have your copies of your white notes anyways,
Yeah, we're gonna be talking, they just send it in, I think, just,
refresh your memory.
yeah. Can we get a motion on that to, well, you can't make the motion.
No, I just wanted, yeah, maybe where we had this one there.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be the last one.
Okay, sorry.
Need a motion,
I'll move,
okay,
see for information.
all right. Any other questions or comments on this correspondence? All in favor? Carried. Letter number 2 is from the Slave Lake Regional Tourism Society. And I'll make the motion that council send them a letter that we intend to join the Slave Lake Regional, well, it wouldn't be the Slave Regional, but I guess the
Say regional.
regional tourism group.
Slave Region Tourism Society?
Yeah, but that's, that will change once they become a regional society. Yeah, but they do need a letter so that they can apply by November 15th, so it is time sensitive. And their request is basically that at $2 per capita, or for our 2,338 people, is it?
Something like that.
At $2 a head, so it'd be just under $5,000 to towards tourism. So.
First and then
Yeah. Can I just say that that would be effective January 1st, 2024, right, 25? So that it would not affect this year's budget because we spend money. No. Yeah, and I'm sure they're good with that as long as they know we're coming and that we want our checkbook.
Correct, yeah. Councilor Stenos.
Okay, so you're making a motion that we join and pay this money? Is that what your motion is gonna be?
That was my motion. Yeah,
Okay.
and send a letter.
Okay, so I'm against it. Why? There's no money in tourism, not for the town of High Prairie. The people who are making money in tourism are these private, resort type campsites in Jusard, Shaw's Point, whatever. Those are the people who should be divvying up the money and promoting it. That's what's drawing the tourists here, are those resort areas, not the town of High Prairie. I'm not in favor of the town of High Prairie giving money to this.
Councilor Martins?
So you would send someone else after the sequence, you sent her with somebody else.
No, I don't think so. It's getting late, I might be missing.
So I would have liked to have seen this in an RFD to weigh the pros and cons. This is just for information. like, I would like to see an RFD before we make a $5,000 commitment. I also then want to know what happened with the economic $5,000 website that we kind of, and then my third question would be, that's why I would like to see an RFD. My third question would be, what is this, a one-year commitment? Are we committed ongoingly? I mean, these are the things I would like to see in an RFD.
Nope, it's a good point. I mean, from this has come in a long time, and then this is sort of the end of, they're right at the thing of needing some kind of a commitment now, but they have been in and talked about this twice to our council. So that's why I think we can, I hear what you're saying, it would be much better, but
They
at
need the
least.
commitment, sorry, by the 15th?
Yeah, well, because that's when they need to apply for a grant that would cover some of the rest of it.
Right.
We could bring it back on the 12th as a proper RFP.
Right, and also ANCA presented this, and we've had lots of time to develop an RFD. If this was the goal, not to push it through like this from a letter of communications letter. So I would not want to vote on this today.
That's a good point.
And if we do it as an RFP, we come with a draft letter that council could then review.
Okay.
That's okay with council.
So, yeah, I'll make, I'll revise my motion that council direct administration to come with a RFP on their request. All in favor? Okay. And then we had the addition, the letter from Métis District 21. They are looking for having, putting up the Métis flag during Métis week at the town flags, or one of the town flags. And they're asking if we would support that, and if we would, they would like to do a little ceremony to go along with it. So we've got two comments, we'll go.
And just do the clarification because it may be a couple comments. So again, this is dated October 15th. I want to remind council that our last meeting, after the last meeting, I left town. I didn't come back until last week, and so this is the first opportunity where we had a meeting since that time. I also checked with the staff. We had the 3 flagpoles up front for the federal, provincial, and the town flag, but there is also a community flagpole here up front, which could utilize, and we wouldn't have to put it up there next to it. We've got that there for that purpose. So I talked to staff, and that's possible to do as long as they get the blessing from council.
Okay. Councilor Winkle.
I was just going to move that we fly the Métis flag for Métis week, and that you be authorized to attend and give some opening remarks.
Okay, we got that. Councilor Daneka.
So we have the 3 flagpoles in front.
Yeah.
And we have 1
Right
flagpole
over
there.
at the door. Yeah.
Okay, so we're running out of flagpoles. Because we were sent from the Native Friendship Center that they're doing the Native Remembrance Day ceremony and flying a flag on that flagpole. I believe it was the 8th.
Yeah.
The 8th of November, so now we have the Métis flag as well. So can we put 2 flags on 1 flagpole?
No.
No, we would just,
No.
it would replace it.
But the
No,
veteran, the one from the Friendship Center is for Métis veterans, so I'm assuming we're going to fly that
Until Remembrance Day.
until November 11th or the morning of the 12th,
Which time we
and
want this up.
then go through the process of taking that down and putting this one up.
Yes,
Is that the plan?
that would be the plan.
Okay,
So there's no conflict between the two.
okay.
Any other discussion on this?
Yeah. What does our flag policy say? I haven't, like I said, this just showed up tonight. I haven't had a chance to do my homework, so we do have a flag policy. I don't know what it
Put up
says.
whatever we want. By resolution of council.
Then what's the point of having policies then if we're just gonna wing it every meeting?
We're not winging it everywhere. It says it may, actually, the flag policy, I think, doesn't even deal with the fourth flagpole. I do believe it only deals with the three up front,
This one was referred to me by staff as a community flagpole,
for whatever.
whatever purpose.
Okay, so should that not be added into our?
It probably should be, or should have been.
Exactly.
We're not gonna reopen the flag policy. You guys talked about that for a year and a half.
And council's already agreed to the one flag, so I wouldn't give a slap in the face to the other group for saying no to it. It's up to you guys, but, yeah, sorry, we get into this discussion.
Okay, we had, Councillor Martin.
Sorry, Councillor Waco, just your motion. You made a motion to, go ahead and do this for the 12th to the 16th, which is awesome. You also made the motion to authorize our mayor to go and give some remarks. Are you doing that for both the flag raisings or just the one?
Well, this is the one that's in front of us. I think we had previously approved that for the veterans one.
And I believe the mayor wasn't available for that one, correct? Okay.
That particular request, I responded to the Friendship Center and said I wasn't available, and would they like somebody else to attend? And then we could check on it, but I've never heard back from the Friendship Center on that one.
It's the.
Yeah.
That's a
That's
Tuesday.
right, it's a Friday.
Oh.
That's a Northern Alberta elected leaders meeting that night. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Anything else on this? All those in favor? John's in favor. Okay, got it. It's carried. Oh, and opposed, sorry, Judy.
That's okay.
I thought you had your hand up for a
No,
second.
yeah, no. When I said I wasn't prepared for this, I thought that you would,
Okay, no,
I'm not gonna pass it without.
okay. Then moving on to our verbal, or is there any notice of upcoming meetings that we really need to talk about? Nothing really interesting, okay? So moving on then to written and verbal reports, starting with Councillor Daneka.
No report, but I did attend the, I don't know what you call it, the open house or whatever with the MLA he was here at the library on October 24th. Basically, it was sort of an open session, regarding what his government has been up to and the priorities that he's been working on for High Prairie. One, of course, is the helipad, and healthcare. Two was the YAC, which she still has not had a response from either Child Service Minister or the Treasury or whoever, and what they're going to do with that. But he still is plugging away, trying to get somebody to give him an answer. The other thing he said too, that if and when the town is applying for grants, to CC him as well, because then he can go to that particular minister and say, hey, High Prairie is applying for this grant under this. Could you please, kind of give them the support it, whatever. So there's probably, I don't know, 10 to 15 people that came. He's going to try to do something, he said, in November that's a little bit more accommodating, because we were just in that little nook just as you come in, and it really wasn't, there wasn't a lot of room for a whole bunch of people, so he did say that he was trying to maybe find a different venues sometime in November. But other than that, I move my verbal report for information.
All right, questions, comments?
It's just that you said I have no report, and now you're moving your verbal report.
All right, all in favor? It's carried. Councillor Dunn.
So I had the waste management meeting a couple weeks ago. Waste management is on track, things going well. Looking at some exciting things happening down the road. And that's all I can say about that. And then we had the Children's Resource Council meeting yesterday, and things are going well there. Given some of the information I heard today, parts of what I heard, I'm wondering if they've connected because they're looking at daycare as well. So I'm wondering if they've connected with the Muskwa people or what's happening there. So, but yeah, in terms of the programming, things are going well. Slave Lake is going strong. They're part of the CRC organization, and and then that's my report, and I will give the council receive. I make a motion the council receive my verbal report for information.
Okay, thank you. I'll see if there's any questions or comments for you. I just had one question, John, is where are we, or is the Waste Authority? Yeah. Where's the Waste Authority in regards to the commission that they're trying to transfer over to?
That's on track. They're waiting on one community that's a little behind on getting their yes in. And so, but that's, as far as the representative from that community, that's going to happen right away. So
when will that likely happen?
I would say probably by the end of November at the latest. It could be before that, but yeah.
So the plan is to change to a commission as of the end of this year kind of thing?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It depends on all the paperwork. There's still, once we get everything in from all the communities involved, then there's still the legal paperwork that has to take place and stuff. So that's why I'm saying it could be the end of November, could be the end of the year, given government process. So.
And you made a comment about the daycare with Muskwa, and their daycare is going to be in Grand Prairie, so it won't have any impact on ours. Yeah.
See, that's the thing when you only hear half the information.
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, he moved his report for information. All in favor? It's carried. Moving on then to Councillor Martins.
I have no report.
Okay, thank you. For myself, I attended the Health Foundation meeting, and at that meeting they had approved a couple of donations to the hospital, and they were 2 bladder scanners and a ultrasound machine. So it was around $40,000, 40 went to them for those 2 things. I attended a Heart River housing meeting. In a nutshell, there's lots of discussion still going on about fiber to all of the various Heart River housing properties. They're working towards getting things started on the Valley View build, and really looking to secure the land from the school division and how to go about doing that. The Belair build, that project is a little bit behind schedule now. They pushed back the opening date till March, so it's a little bit behind, but it's on budget. And the other meeting I attended was the intermunicipal meeting, and as our CAO had mentioned, that we discussed items that we opened up the ICF and said, okay, which items do we want to discuss in more detail in the future? And basically it was almost everything, except we took out a few things like the services that were in there originally, like broadband, enhanced policing, and the helipad. And there was a couple of others that we said we don't need to reopen those up, but the rest of them, we were gonna open them up. We discussed the ground rules for those meetings again, and we also clarified, there was some confusion around intermunicipal meetings versus ICF discussions, and how is that gonna be handled? And in a nutshell, the intermunicipal committee will do the discussions on ICF, so they can talk about, you know, maybe economic development, and discuss those sorts of things as part of the intermunicipal committee, but then they can also go into closed session and negotiate ICF discussions. Yeah, that's about it. We also have a recreation meeting coming up. Tomorrow. So with that, I'll move my report for information and take any questions, comments. So, Councillor Martins?
So it's not, thank you, Mayor, it's not on any of the 4 items you've mentioned here. My question is about the email with the direction to our, what's that word, that term? What's another word for CA, or like if there's a blanket term, like our special advisors, like what do you call it? What's the synonym? No, remember that it was anyway, legal counsel.
Oh.
Where was the motion for that, for that email that you sent out? I don't want to say.
Oh, okay, I know what you're referring to. That was just all of the email approvals that we got to move on that. That was what we had. People submitted their responses to the original email and moved forward based on that.
Okay, so where's the motion? Because I mean, I know you asked an opinion question because we weren't going to meet for some time, but I don't know what the motion was. People said option 1, but where was the motion, or is it going to come to our council for an actual
There was
motion?
no official motion. It was basically vote by email on that because of the time restrictions that we had.
So I guess therein lies my question. What is the time restriction? There was none when we spoke with the gentleman that we spoke with. There was no deadline. So what was the urgency?
They wanted to have this ideally dealt with in a quick timeline. I guess we may have been able to bring it back, but our lawyer had asked for getting a response because they wanted to get back and deal with it.
Again, I wasn't privy to those conversations. The one I was, he didn't say that there was any rush in time because of the date that they had suggested came and went. So I'm just not sure how that process worked. So I guess my question is process. And in addition to that, maybe this is an in-camera item, or I'm not sure if our CEO has shared with you that access to emails for our former employee wasn't cut off until October 22nd or 3rd. I forget the date exactly, Herman. So I'm not sure if all the council is aware of that, number 1. Number 2, there are two councillors' emails that were forwarded directly to that inbox. I just want to know if the rest of council is aware of that and if that was sanctioned up to present date, 22nd or 23rd.
And you're asking me, I don't believe that that was officially sanctioned by council, no. So yeah, I guess that's the answer to it, wasn't a sanction, a motion by council to do that.
Is anyone aware of, the potential, not conflict, but what's the word, lack of breach of confidentiality for somebody to be accessing emails where we talked about potential legal responses, and it would be like knowing the other side's conversations if you have access to pertinent information like that.
I'm not aware of any, but yeah.
Can I try in here?
Before, this is skating on in camera.
Yeah, and it's
That's
not
why I
related
haven't
to my
seen
report to you.
Well, the motion that you made on email, there was no motion, so it is related. I didn't understand how that happened, because the next email you said was, hey, I've advised this legal person to do this, and I didn't understand where that came from or
Well,
how.
we had the 5 responses that were made.
Where's
so.
the motion?
But there was a question, there was no motion, and were you sanctioned previous, and maybe I'm mistaken, maybe you were, and I don't know where that was.
Well, my intent was just to deal with it that way, and that's the way I thought I had worded the email, to say, let's deal with this by email so we can get it over and done with. Let me know what your thoughts are, which way you'd like to.
To me, resolutions look very different, motions look very different than a casual email saying, hey, a straw man poll, where's everyone sitting? You've said that many times, but that's what I thought that was, and I thought it would actually come back. Next thing I know, there was already enacted upon without a motion.
Yeah, there was no motion, but because of how late our next meeting was, right? There was.
I would like to see a deadline put forward, because I remember the gentleman saying that there is no deadline, so I'm not sure why you acted before it could come to council, and where's the intimation from that lawyer that there was a deadline that you had to act for October, let's say 20th?
There wasn't anything, he just requested that we have it acted on quickly, and so that's why I went on it, and if council wanted the input, we could have done that stuff by email, was where I was going at with that. Give your feedback, and we had feedback, as you know, some for, some against, or we had some option 1, some option 2, and we went with the ones that most of the council had supported.
So that was a survey.
Well, that wasn't the intent. It's which way did you want to go with this? And and in the email said I wanted to deal with it before our next council meeting. And I put that in the email, that where were people wanting to go.
So how will this reflect in our books for payments? Like, where is the motion? And how will we reflect that in our documentation in our books?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to stifle this, but this is really skating on in-camera information here. We're teetering on the edge. I really think that if we're going to continue this discussion, that it should be in camera. Or at the next meeting, so all the proper documentation can be brought forward by administration. I hear your concerns, but we also have confidentiality issues here. So that would be my suggestion, that this be put off until the next meeting in camera.
Okay, and I just want to make a point that I'm going to say at least 3 emails I alluded to. I will not respond to this email. I will talk to you in person.
In the interest of time, I'm happy for this to come back, but I would like to hear from our legal counsel that there was a specific date and urgency, and I would like to have this in camera, of course, discussion, and the gentleman can join us in camera, but I don't see where arbitrarily we had to move that forward via email with no motion, and perhaps our CEO can weigh in on the motion process, because that did not look like a motion to me. And I'd like Councillor Stenhouse's question answered, where how is this going to be reflected in order to pay off anybody, where is that going to be reflected? How, with no motion? So next meeting is fine.
Okay, anything else for me? All right, all in favor? And moving on then to Councillor Stenhouse.
So to add to my report, I attended the beautification meeting. And that's it for my verbal and written report.
Okay. Councillor Waco.
Question.
Motion regarding Councilor Stenhouse's report, to accept a written report with verbal updates for information.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So we can just get that for you next week.
Okay, sure,
Sorry.
okay, yeah.
You said you spoke with Fortress on power. I'm assuming you meant Fortis?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they expanding here? Is that?
No, I was just getting information on, because I hear a lot of complaints about our distribution charges and stuff like that, so I got information on how this distribution charge works. It was just, I was gathering ideas and information.
Okay. No, I was just curious if they were coming up here to give us an option.
No.
Okay. That was it.
Okay, and you updated your motion for a written report with the verbal update?
Yes.
All in favor? John, I'm there, yeah, you can't hear me, can you? Okay, and Councillor Yashish. Oh, I jumped over Councillor Wade, sorry.
Go first. I
I
don't
thought there
care.
was a reason, that's okay.
Councillor Wade, go first.
None of my committees have met. The rec board meets tomorrow. Be the first time in a while. It'll be an interesting meeting. Yeah. However, I would like to report the Regals are back, and if you weren't there, everybody else was there. The place was packed. There was a lineup all the way across the parking lot. A lot of people just went home. We had at one point over 300 people watching it live on YouTube, and the video has since been watched at least over 1,000 times since then. So senior hockey was, the Regals in particular, were greatly missed, and people have shown their appreciation for that. So congratulations to them on getting their bid in and putting up a good first game. And next game is November 7th against Falher. Should be packed again. So hope to see you all there. That's my report. I'll move that for information.
Councillor Stenhouse.
So in the honor of time, how would the Regals hockey report and schedule reflect in council committee reports?
It's an organization in town that I happen to be involved with, and it's in the best interest of the community.
All right, all in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Moving on then to Councillor Yashisha.
I had one meeting that was referred to, the ICF, which was yesterday. Actually, it seems like it was like about a week ago, but it was only yesterday. I won't say anything really more, Mayor, you really covered it there, except that we did review the ICF agreement, and then also the ground rules as well. So I'll just leave it at that. That's my report.
And you move it. Any questions on that? All in favor? It's carried. All right, so with that, we are done our agenda. Our meeting is adjourned.